In this follow-up video, we will be discussing the pros and cons of taking the do-it-yourself approach for your EB2 National Interest Waiver Green Card petition. Choosing to handle your EB2 National Interest Waiver application on your own is a big decision. There are certainly advantages to taking the DIY route, but it's important to be aware of the potential pitfalls as well. Let's start with the pros of doing it yourself because it can be a viable option for many, but it comes with its own set of challenges. So let's dive into the benefits and the drawbacks, starting with the benefits. So the first we have is cost savings. One of the most significant advantages of the DIY approach is the cost savings. By handling the application yourself, you avoid the substantial fees associated with hiring an immigration attorney or lawyer. You only need to cover the application fees or the filing fees and any additional cost for document translations or evaluation. You would have a better control over your expenses and can allocate the funds as needed. The money, most importantly, that you save can be used for other essential expenses such as relocating or maybe living costs. There are many affordable or free resources available to help guide you through this process. The second advantage here is personal involvement. Handling your own application means you are deeply involved in every step of the process, and you would gain a thorough understanding of the EB2 NIW application process and requirements. You would also ensure that every detail is accurate and meets your standard. Managing your application can be empowering and it can also boost your confidence. You will have direct control over the timing and content of your application. You will also build valuable knowledge and skills that can be beneficial for future applications or even assisting others like I am doing. Then there is also flexibility for doing it yourself. Taking the DIY route provides a level of flexibility that hiring an attorney might not. You can work at your own pace without being dependent on an attorney's schedule. You can easily adjust your plans and document as needed. Most importantly, you can tailor your application to highlight your strength and achievement. You can also take immediate actions on tasks without waiting for an attorney approval. You will get to manage your own schedule, making it easier to balance other responsibilities with your application process. Another advantage here is access to resources. There are many resources available to help you through the process, even without an attorney. And I create content on these, and there are many out there who create content on these. There are numerous online guides and forums which provide step-by-step instructions. USCIS provides detailed instructions and also resources to help applicants just like you. There's also immigration communities on Reddit and support groups that can offer advice and also share their experiences through this process. You can also read books and there are webinars and there are courses available to educate yourself in this process. Most importantly, there are also sample documents and templates that can help you prepare your application. Lastly, it's the learning experience that many people take for granted. Taking charge of your own application can be a valuable learning experience. You will develop skills in research, in document preparation, and legal understanding. You will learn to rely on yourself and also trust your abilities. The process hones your problem solving skills as you navigate these challenges. Successfully completing the application would also boost your confidence and help others in the future. And most importantly, The experience that you get would prepare you for future immigration processes or legal attacks. Now, let's now focus our attention to the cons of doing it yourself or going the DIY approach. There is complexity and time consuming, and that is a potential downside. The EB2 National Interest Waiver application has detailed requirements that can be challenging to navigate. Preparing and submitting the application requires significant time investment, and without professional guidance, there is a higher risk of making mistakes. The complexity can be very stressful, especially if you are unfamiliar with the immigration law. So managing deadlines and staying on top of tasks can be overwhelming. Another disadvantage of going the DIY route is lack of expertise. Without an attorney, you may lack the expertise needed to handle certain aspects of your applications. Attorneys have in-depth legal knowledge that you might not possess. Understanding and interpreting immigration regulations can be also be difficult. Now, you might also miss very critical details that could impact your application that you may not be aware of. And if complications arise, you might not know how to address them effectively. You might have limited access to certain resources and networks that are available to attorneys. Another disadvantage here is increased responsibilities. Taking the DIY route means you bear the full responsibility for your application, meaning you are fully accountable for any mistakes or omissions. You need to advocate for yourself without professional support. Managing and organizing all the necessary documents is solely your responsibility. When it comes to RFEs, handling requests for additional evidence requires careful and prompt responses. The responsibilities can add significant stress and pressure. Last but not the least is the errors or misunderstandings can lead to delays in the application process. Correcting mistakes can be time consuming and that could lead to a delay in your application petition. There is a higher risk of miscommunication with USCIS without an attorney. And staying updated on changes in immigration policies can also be very challenging, especially when you are also working. And if your application is incomplete, you may need to resubmit documents, causing further delays. There may be unforeseen complications that would arise, which can also prolong this process. Emotional and mental toll. This is something that a lot of people do not take into consideration because the process can take an emotional and mental toll, especially if you are handling it alone. High levels of stress can affect your well being, and you might feel isolated without professional support. There might be a time where you might have uncertainty about the outcome, which can cause anxiety. The emotional strain of managing everything on your own can be very significant, and the intense focus required can lead to burnout. This is something that you need to consider if you want to go the DIY route versus using the services of an immigration attorney. In summary, we have discussed the pros and cons of taking the do-it-yourself approach for your EB2 NIW green card petition. The cost savings, the personal involvement, and the flexibility can be appealing, but the complexity and responsibility and potential for delays are important factors to consider. Weigh these pros and cons carefully to decide what is best for your situation.